Hello everyone, it's me Sir Henson and I will be your teacher for today's lesson. I'm pretty sure that you will not just enjoy, but you will also learn lots of things from this video. So without further ado, let's get started. We are now already in our fourth quarter, week 1 of our lesson, with the topic of giving conclusions to realistic fiction. In this lesson, you will learn to develop your skills in giving conclusions to realistic fictions. After going through this lesson, you are expected to first, give conclusions to realistic fiction read. Next, provide textual evidence to explain and support conclusion. Last but not least, read grade-level text with appropriate speed, accuracy, and proper expression. Let's define what is realistic fiction. When we say realistic, it means that something seems real. While when we say fiction, it means stories that are not real. Therefore, when we say realistic fiction, it is a genre that seems real but is not. Let's have a short introduction of our lesson. Let me read to you this statement. Learning to draw or give conclusions is a skill that develops over time. It is an important skill for readers to learn because it encourages them to pay attention to what they are reading, use what they know from life experiences, and look at the details and facts in the text as clues that will help them draw conclusions about what is meant but not explicitly stated. Now, let's define what is conclusion. When we say conclusion, it is a statement a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. To draw a conclusion, one can use the story clues and your own experience to figure out things that were not fully explained in a story. When we say story clues, this is what you read in the text. And when you say your own experience, it is what you already know. The selection or story does not really say the answers to the questions, but you can conclude the answers from what you read. For us to remember, we can use the addition sentence. Story clues plus what I know or your own experience equals conclusion. So that's how you make your conclusion. What do you think will happen if it wouldn't rain for several days? Okay, if it wouldn't rain for several days, plants will die. Our given conclusion is plants will die. Based on the given clue on the first part of the sentence, one can conclude that if it didn't rain for several days, plants will die. What do you think will happen if you will not study diligently? Okay, if you will not study diligently, you will get low grades. Our given conclusion is you will get low grades. Based on the given clue on the first part of the sentence, one can conclude that if you will not study diligently, you will get low grades. Let's look at the picture. If you see an empty plate of cookies, and then you see a toddler with crumbs on his face, you can give a conclusion that he ate the cookies even though you did not see him do it. In the text, first you have to read the passage because that's where the clues are. Next, you have to search for clues like the crumbs on the toddler's face or what you can directly see or in the case of a text, what the author directly tells you. Lastly, using logic, reasoning, and prior knowledge, you can already give or draw a conclusion. Now, let's try to give a conclusion to this passage. Lyle was excited as she looked outside her window. Dark clouds had blocked out the sun. A strong wind was blowing through the trees. She heard thunder off in the distance. Now, let's look at the clues or what the author directly told us. First, we have there were clouds. Second clue, there was a strong wind. And last, Lyle heard thunder. Now, what is about to happen when there are dark clouds, a strong wind, and a thunder? The answer is, a storm or heavy rain is about to happen, and that is our conclusion. We know that from prior knowledge, even though the passage did not mention the storm or even rain. It's now time to answer the learning task assigned to you. For learning task number 1, you have to read the paragraph carefully. Then choose the letter that best gives the conclusion for the story. For learning task number 2, many people come to incorrect conclusions because they do not think out carefully. Read each group of sentences below, write correct on the blank before each number if you decide that the conclusion reached is correct. If not, write incorrect. For learning task number 3, you have to analyze the cartoon below. Then, provide answer to the questions that will lead to a good conclusion. And for learning task 4, you have to read the sentences carefully. Determine the sentence that supports the conclusion and copy this in the proper column. The first one is done for you. Finally, to summarize our lesson, let's try to complete the sentences by supplying the missing words from the concept you have learned from today's lesson. Then read the whole paragraph orally. Giving blank is what a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. Very good. Conclusions. One can use blank to form a conclusion. Very good. Story clues. Giving conclusion may also be based on one's blank. Alright, own experience. Now, let's read the whole paragraph. Giving conclusions is what a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. One can use story clues to form a conclusion. Giving conclusion may also be based on one's own experience. That's all for this video. Thank you for listening and God bless us all.